Reaching level 41 and a house update. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because today we're going to celebrate the fact that I have reached level 41. And if you're noticing the slight scratch on my head, I had a little bit of a minor injury yesterday working on the house, so I thought, perfect time, celebrate my birthday. I managed to survive another year, contrary to a piece of conduit falling off the side of the house, trying to scratch me up, and give you all an update of how we're progressing on the house. Now, I know it may look a bit unpleasant, these injuries on my head, but, you know, Rachel's patched me all up and I'm doing fine. The problem with any time you even get a small cut on your head, this is why the wrestling is all fake, is the blood just pours out like anything. So it looks very scary when people are watching you, but it's, you know, just messy and annoying. So this was the last update we showed some time ago, where I was demolishing a big portion of our house. Here you can see all of the framing, the old staircase, everything that I've pretty much, even the roof and everything I took down just with a prying bar and a hammer by hand. So demolished all of that, and we've progressed since there. Now, our house is a old place, over 100 years old, but we don't have any character zoning, none of those requirements. It's the original workers' cottage from this entire area when it was a farm. So it's got some history to it, and I think the previous owner sold to us because, you know, he'd be happy that a family is moving into the house. So that was the last update. And you can see here, you know, that was the demo work. And we had a bit of rot, dry rot there with some of the timber, just because water had gotten in over time and just worn out. And I think we had a bit of borer damage in this old part that was exposed. There was a little bit of asbestos here within the 3 square meters that I was legally allowed to remove myself. So I completely decked out masks, wrapped it in triple plastic, hired a trailer, and then I had to take it to a tip outside of Brisbane because there was nowhere in Brisbane that I would be allowed to take it. So I can legally do a course, do the training, but then I can't dispose of it anywhere. So what are people going to do? That's why people will chuck this stuff in, I don't know, in skips in supermarkets or stuff. Fortunately, a viewer told me what to do. I could go down to Logan, just one city south, pay $50, and they'd take it away. It was awesome. So thank you very much to the person who gave me that advice. Now, all the timber here you see, I've saved it all. I put it all near the shed. I've got a big pile here of timber because there's some good hardwood here that you can't get anymore. And this is before timber was going insane. And even if I chop some of this up, we can use it for furniture. We have a look here. You can see this was after the demolition was done. I got out a lot of these myself with just a demo hammer and a sledgy, and I got sick of it. So then I just hired a guy with a little bobcat. He did it in 5 minutes. So you can see this is the studio where I'm recording here at the back. This is a modern edition, and this is the old house that we've got here. So this is after the demo was done. I disconnected all the services, stripped out all the wiring. Underneath it, I had to pull everything out. So I even got to the point where I was there with an angle grinder cutting out every nail and screw where the steel was going to go flush with, so the boys could just screw it in. Now, what's the dream of a house? If you haven't seen the last update, we bought a fixer-upper, everyone. We bought a cheap suburban fixer-upper. The roof is good, but the footings were all at an angle, and it was getting worse. When I bought it, I had an engineer mate come and have a look, ask his advice. He said, yeah, it's not going to fall over anytime soon, but I'd get moving on it quick. And which is the interesting thing is here at the back, it's fine. It's just all this one here. So I don't think he stumped it properly, but, you know, sure, they're at a bit of an angle because the earth moves. None of the doors open or close anymore. You know, that's just how it is in these old houses. But the dream, what do we plan to do? And, okay, so this is the long-term dream, everyone. We've got the original Queenslander that we're lifting up here, and underneath we're extending out another floor, and here we're building a more contemporary wing to one side. So we're keeping a juxtaposition, as they say, of the heritage, traditional aspects to one side, and the newer, more modern aspects on the other. And, you know, we'll have a double garage and a whole lot of areas here and a little parents' retreat at the back. And notice how we're up above, off the ground everywhere, because technically we're in a flood area here on the corner. There's a flood level that we need to be worried about. And just, it's more like overland flow, guys. Water just flowing over in a storm. You don't want to get in your house. So here's the plan. Here's what we're proposing to do on the ground level. So this here is the footprint of the original house. Hang on, I'll draw it. This here is the footprint of the original house, roughly. Okay. That we're lifting up. And this is what's going underneath. So we've got a new entry stair that we're extending out. This is the double height space. So this is the exciting space that Rachel wants to really dress up. We've got a little entry deck, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms here, and then a little study. So the little space I'm at the back will eventually demolish, and I'll move my little studio into here. And then I'll have, eventually in the next stage, we'll have it continuing out onto double, glass doors. So I can close this off to make a dark recording space, and then have a work space out here for my architectural work. And then we've got a little deck coming off the master bedroom. The idea is we've got a family room and gym. Now, here's an interesting thing. This is something I didn't realize. By the fact that I wrote the word gym on here, the engineer has increased the structural steel as opposed to other parts of the house, slightly driving up the cost, but more a pain in the arse. So future versions, I removed the gym word at all, called it family room. And if I put any gym equipment there, we're not talking much. I may be talking just some dumbbells, and I'll just put some ply on the flooring just to provide a bit extra protection. It should be fine. And I had to get the town planner, we had to write a special letter to town planning saying we're not starting up a hostel or anything because we just have so many kids. That's why we've got so many bedrooms. Then we'll have a little parents' retreat here. So we've got a lot of rooms, but, more space upstairs. So a little master bedroom here, a lovely ensuite. Then we've got a laundry with a WC and a bath, little robe and walk-in robe here. And then if we go upstairs, actually this is the flooring plan, the flooring structure. What we were going to use was a 200mm Hebel based on the fact that the engineer required it. But we've gotten this down to a 75mm Hebel and added additional Z members running across here so the Hebel can run this way, because the 75mm I can pick up by my own hands and carry and put in place. The 200 thick Hebel, I'll need to hire a crane and a crane operator to put it into place. So the 200mm, it'll be a little bit thicker, it'll be heavier, it'll be nicer, but that's another $7,000 just on a crane. Because it'll take a few days. And so I want to save that money. So that's what we're doing, because this is an aerated concrete product. We've got cyan flooring here where we'll drop down to the wet areas, make it all nice and simple, and we'll run a stack from up above. Now, these are all the screw piles that I've got going in. So I'm doing all of these right now, all the screw piles, but I will do this stage next. So we'll get this bit finished, we'll occupy this, and then we'll do this in the next stage. Now, this is the upper level. So here we've got the existing bedrooms. We've got a bathroom that we're reconfiguring, so we're not really adding anything to it. We're just moving stuff around. So moving the bath from here to here. And that's it. And just replacing the previous owner had it looked crap. They had mini orb everywhere, and it wore out. It was, the style for a time. A mini orb and make it look all rustic. Yeah, you get over it. So we're ditching all of that. This is our existing kitchen. We're going to eventually get rid of that and just turn that into a homeschooling study space for all the kids. You go out here into a big dining space. Here we've got a new kitchen. We may reconfigure that a little bit, but that's kind of the idea, just having a gallery kitchen. Then we've got a media room and a family room here. So lots of different little alcoves and spaces where people can hang out. And we've got a nice big deck here. And the idea is you can have circular flow going through the whole building. We can open it up here on the stairs. Here we've got a little window too, so you can get ventilation going right through the building. We can open the doors. And that's the dream, everyone. That's the dream. So what we've got the steel just underneath the house. That's been put in, that's been pinned. And we've got it lifted and put into place. As of yesterday, the boys have moved over the house, put it into place. So what are we looking at today? And okay, so here we go. We can see here it's been moved over. So see where that's exposed ply? That's where the house used to be. So it used to be here, guys. So it's all moving over now. Oh, come on, wait, blue? Can you see blue there? Yeah, you know what I mean, there. Okay, so it's moved over from, wait, can I make the thickness? There we go. built-in pens there. There. Okay. There we go. So we've moved over from there. Now, they've moved it into place. I painted all the front, got up there. I removed this old awning. I need to put some roof sheeting on it now. I mean, this is an old door that's going to get, turfed. And we're going to extend out to here. We're going to put a Rytec roof up here. So we're just going to get a member running along here, bolt it through to the existing structure and sit it on there. Got to repair the gutter here and gutter here. But, the main part of it was me just to paint it. And I've got to, need to repaint this a little bit. But she's been moved over and she's been positioned. Now, the whole house is going to go up to about this level. This will be the level here. So the first floor will be about roughly the height of this roof. Now, we've adjusted this because we've got a bit of room to play up here because you've got a height limit. And we're pulling it up to 300 because we've got room to play, because then it can reduce the amount of excavation I need to do, because I need to have a certain clearance underneath my structural members and the ground according to the NCC. So you can see here how they've propped it up. They've stacked it up on these blocks. And literally they will just soap pieces of timber and just crank it with chains. That's how they move it. That's all they do, soaped pieces of timber. And she just moves over. Now, they were going to raise it today, but the ground's a bit wet, so they're going to hold off on another week, which doesn't disappoint me too much because I'll have more room to do some painting. So you can see here, this is the side near where previously I was standing here and I've done all the demolition. They've moved it over. We had to open all of these doors, well, the glass doors really. I don't care if that one breaks when they're moving the house. But it moves already. These houses move. Nothing's built straight. They're old. The timber's solid as anything. You can see here, everyone, this is a piece of steel that we put in. The bearer was not doing anything. That bearer was just sitting there not doing anything. There's another bearer here that we had was not doing anything. These are old houses. You have to adjust as you go along with it. It's part of the give and take. But I was shocked. I thought they were bullshitting me when they said they just put it on soap. So this is the look from the back. Again, I've got to redo the gutters. I probably should get up there and paint this as well while I'm there. I've painted this. This here is the back of our bathroom, and it was attached to the studio here. So you can see they've already moved the whole thing over. And this is all an old staircase. So she's moved over. All these windows handle it pretty well. The move, no problems with any of the louvers, because they're worried. They're telling you when you're preparing for this, for a house raise, you need to strip everything underneath. So all the plumbing, you've got to disconnect. All the wiring, you have to disconnect. All the windows, you should leave open. And we had no problems with any of the windows, which is good. Any other things that I'm aware of? No, I mean, just when you start taking things away, you find little damaged pieces of timber, weatherboard that you'll need to replace, and I'll do that later. I mean, this had no weatherboard on it, so we'll have to look at that next. But you can see here how what they did is they used my my props to keep the posts together, because they just chuck a chain around this and you pull on that to move the house. And they were pulling these out, and I said, "Go ahead, pull them out. Save me some time." Excuse the mess here. I'll clean it up later. I'm not doing it now. I literally took these this morning as I arrived here. Now, this is the elevation that I've been working on. I've sanded it. Now I'm patching it, like patching the little holes. Today, I will trim all these trees so I can get this done. This is where I'm happy. They're giving me a bit of, they need some more time so I can get up there with just a ladder and not needing scaffold and get it done and painted. At least get it, get a coat on there. This blue is what we're going to use. So I've removed all the paint because I had lead-based paint on there. I took that all off. I used the special chemical that you put on put a gunk on there, put paper on, then it just peels off. It's beautiful. Of course, you're wearing the protective equipment. And then I've taken it off. I've finished it, and now I'm just patching it, any of the holes or anything. So most of the pine is pretty good. There's a few that are a little bit cracked, but I'll patch them up. If I can avoid replacing them, I will, because they're expensive. These things are like $75 a meter because they're 200 mils. So they're not cheap for these. These are chamfer board. Sorry, not weatherboard, chamfer board. Slightly different. And you can see here, I thought I'd show you this. This is how we're setting it out. So we had the surveyor come here, put this guy in, built this up here, run a string line, and he's just putting a plumb bus. So there's one dude in the team of house raisers. He was the old guy. Most of them are young, like 20. You're a bunch of 20-year-old blokes. And there's a guy, in his 50s. He knew his shit. You could tell he knew his shit. They move like 600 of these things a year, guys. So it's big business. There's lots of people in Queensland moving, lifting, building under. They're harder and harder to find now because that's what people want to do. You get more space. We're doubling the size of our house now just by building under it, let alone the extension. But yeah, just hangs a plumb boss there, moves it over, and when it touches, it's fine. And we've allowed a bit of tolerance there with this and the boundary, just so we have some space. And then underneath here, this is all the steel, so you can see here where they've attached it. And because this is now the primary support members of the house. This stuff is hard as bloody steel too, the timber that we have there. And, it was bowing and everything because the floor was all over the place. So it's starting to get flat. I've never had the floor in here as flat as we've ever had because it's like 100 years old. So yeah, I remember walking in there the first time and I really felt seasick, guys. So where are we at now with the dream, getting our house there? We're close, or closer than we were. There's still a bit of work. Now, next step is for the house raisers to come back and lift it up into position. And once they've lifted it up into position, then what we'll do is, we won't put in the screw piles first. We will get an excavator in to come out and to dig out all of these guys here. All the posts, we need them to dig out and maybe scrape the ground a bit as well, make sure I have all of the sufficient clearances because these guys are a pain. They're a pain to get out, guys. They're a real pain. And then once we have that, we get get them to dig the start points for all of these. We get the pile guy in to put in the screw piles. And then we have put in our Rio and make these caps. Once we've done that, we get the steel boys back and they can start to put in the columns to support it, all the ones under here, the structural members underneath here. Then I get the Hebel guys out. And then at the same time, we'll probably build this as well and get the roof on here, and we'll move from there. Once we're at that point, once we have the Hebel down, I'll probably just chuck up, I'll spray paint it, to be honest, the Hebel to protect it. Once we have this up and a staircase in there, we'll come and inhabit it again. That should be enough to get us back in, and we'll then start getting it wide up and those type of things. Because we want to get back in as soon as we can, but we do want a staircase up to make sure it's safe. I'll block off these doors here until we build the next stage, just with some sheet supply that's going to alleviate the fall risk. And so that's how we're going, guys. We're heading towards there. We're getting towards the dream. How am I celebrating my I'll jump back here, my 41st year? I got a beautiful birthday card from my kids. We celebrated with some nice meat burgers for breakfast, and I bought myself a nerdy Nintendo gaming watch for Zelda. And I spent yesterday just relaxing and playing it. I've got a few jobs starting today as well, so they're kicking off, and I want to get that side, all the trees cleared already so I can get painting and get that done and dusted before they're back here to raise it. Because, it's a lot easier if I can just get up there and paint it. So almost there. So guys, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed that update. Have a great day. And these are the ways you can support the channel, everyone. And I will link to the last update video I did there if you want to see the journey that we're going through. The challenges are getting tradies to do it. Certain things like now the concrete Rio for the pads, we're just getting our steel guy to do it because I can't get concrete, and we'll have to order it ourselves. But that's the fun and games of build it yourself. Take care.